Hey everybody, it's the Uniformed Historian. Thanks for taking a couple minutes out of your day to join me here in Maryland on this beautiful autumn day. I'm joining you from the South Mountain battlefield, specifically a portion of the field referred to as Fox's Gap. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about the 50th Georgia Infantry, who would have looked similar to how I'm dressed today. The 50th Georgia, for those of you who don't know already, was comprised of men mostly from around the Florida and Georgia borderline. They were organized in the spring, March of 1862 to be exact, and the men were originally drilled near Savannah and were part of Drayton's brigade. They joined the Army of Northern Virginia, and they narrowly missed the fighting at 2nd Manassas, just narrowly. They might have seen some Union prisoners, but they took no active part in the engagement. Their first taste of combat was actually here, which is why I'm making this video. They were the extreme flank of an L-shaped position, which I will put here so that you can see. And during the fighting that took place here, the 50th Georgia Infantry became flanked on not one, not two, but 3 sides. They had to run a gauntlet of musket fire to get out of there. They took 80% casualties, reporting about 90 men that were able to make it to the Battle of Antietam a few days later. Most of the wounded that fell here were left to be captured because they had no time to get them out of here. We know very little about what happened here to the 50th Georgia and Sims's brigade because Sims was mortally wounded and died several days later. But we're fortunate that Sergeant William Moore Jones of Company K out of Brooks County, Georgia, left us a very detailed account of exactly what happened here. Thanks to his efforts, I have a list of the casualties of the men who were killed and wounded here that I'd like to take a moment to read. There was a particularly devastating hit taken by Company K, which only brought about 27 to 29 men to the field, and it killed and wounded several of them right at the outset of the engagement. And I'd like to take a moment to recognize some of the soldiers who fell here. J.H. Albritton lost his hearing from an exploding shell. Jim Alderman of Company K, killed by an exploding shell as the advance began. William R. Alvis, Company K, wounded in the heel and hip and taken prisoner. Thomas R. Bailey, shot in the right shoulder and left arm. Peter Bedford, minie-ball struck right ankle, which had to be amputated. 4th Corporal William T. Boyett, minie-ball to the right hand, all but his thumb had to be amputated. Levi Centerfit, left arm torn off below the elbow by canister shot. James Dixon, Company K, killed by exploding shell as the advance began. Corporal Casper G. Duncan, Company K, wounded in the foot. Virgil Giddings, Company K, wounded. John Griffin, musket ball above the left knee. His femur was shattered and his leg had to be amputated the same day. Fleming J. Hall, wounded in the hip by a minie-ball. Sergeant William M. Jones, Company K, wounded in the right ankle by canister shot. He was taken prisoner of war at Williamsport when he had to be left behind during the retreat from Gettysburg. Tarleton B. Joyce, Company K, wounded in the hip and taken prisoner when the Army retreated. Lieutenant Colonel Francis Kearse, killed by grape shot during the advance. James M. Kelly, Company K, wounded. John Hardy King, Company K, wounded. Lieutenant Maxwell, arm bruised by canister shot. John F. McCall, Company K, wounded. Sergeant Wilson McCall, Company K, also wounded. George Henry Merriman, also Company K, wounded in the left lung by canister shot as the advance began. Jesse N. Stevens, Company K, wounded above the left eye by the shell explosion at the outset of the advance. He lost his eyesight in the left eye. Henry Strickland, Company K, wounded. Lieutenant Lott Townsend, wounded in the left forearm halfway between the hand and elbow. Henry Clay Walker, shell fragment that nearly severed his right foot. Leonard Winards, Company K, wounded and captured. Now, obviously, these are not all the casualties that were taken here. These are just the casualties that I was able to research myself and find for myself. So I just want to take a moment to remember these brave Georgians who fell here. Obviously, we can't consume alcohol on National Military Park property, so I've got a glass of sweet tea with some peach in it, and this is my toast to the boys of Georgia. Thank you very much for joining me at this sacred spot of ground. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you at the next Uniformed Historian site.